Okay, everyone, welcome to the Planning and Strategic Initiatives Committee for December 15th. A lot of bright sweaters all around, some twinkly ones. Um, so we are going to commence with just notice for any declaration of peculiar interest or nature thereof. Just key in, please. Councillor Deneau.
Thank you. Declaring a conflict of interest on 6.1, the missing middle affordable housing due to my employer.
Okay. Councillor Michaud.
Same, declaring conflict on the missing middle 6.1 due to my place of employment.
Okay. So, as noted, again, this is a formal public meeting to consider applications under the Planning Act in accordance with the Ontario Planning Act. Only the applicant or owner of the land affected by the planning applications, as a specified person or public body, and or the minister may appeal most decisions. If you do not make a verbal submission to the committee or council, or make a written submission prior to the City Council making a decision on the proposal, you may not be entitled to appeal the decision of the City of Kitchener to the Ontario Land Tribunal and may not be added as a party to the hearing of an appeal before the OLT. To understand your rights of appeal, if any, or for further clarification regarding appeals, please see the Ontario Land Tribunal website, which is http://olt.gov.on.ca. Again, 6.1 is our one and only item. It's missing middle and affordable housing community improvement plan. And also, this item was initially considered as a public meeting held on December the 1st, 2025. However, due to issues related to public advertising legislation, it was not conducted as the statutory public planning meeting. Today's meeting is the official advertised public planning meeting for this item. All written and oral submissions received on December 1st will form a part of public record and will be considered in council's decisions. Any recommendations arising from this matter will be considered at the council meeting taking place this evening. We have a presentation first. Alyssa, I believe you are doing a 5-minute presentation. Whenever you're ready, please key in. Go right ahead.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Chair Singh and members of Planning and Strategic Initiatives Committee. Planning staff are proud to present to Council the Missing Middle and Affordable Housing Community Improvement Plan. City of Kitchener has developed a Missing Middle and Affordable Housing Community Improvement Plan to help create more housing that people with different incomes can afford. In March 2025, the city received an additional $4.2 million from the Housing Accelerator Fund based on the success of our other half initiatives to establish a CIP. The CIP builds on those efforts to increase the housing supply, building inclusive and diverse communities by creating 98 units by October 2026 and 500 units over the next 10 years. Of the 98 unit total, 49 units must be affordable and the remainder be within 1,500 meters of rapid transit. I'll highlight a few items about the program criteria. This CIP applies to land situated within the City of Kitchener's municipal boundary. Priority will be given to projects that achieve funding goals associated with the funding program from other orders of government, projects that are located within 1,500 meters of rapid transit, that incorporate affordable housing units, and that have a plan to achieve building permit issuance by October 31st, 2026. Planning staff evaluated a few initiatives to determine which ones will have the greatest long-term impact on housing affordability and availability. Staff have focused on 2 initiatives. This first program is called the Additional Dwelling Units Grant. Staff are proposing up to 100% development charge grants to help offset upfront costs of developing ADUs. Grants for the second and third dwelling unit shall cover 100% of the cost of applicable educational development charges. Grants for the fourth dwelling unit shall cover 50% of city, regional, and educational DCs as base incentive, or 100% of city, regional, and educational DCs for units that commit to providing a minimum of 1 affordable housing unit for 5 years, or energy efficiency measures, or 1 barrier-free unit. Second program is called the Missing Middle Affordable Housing Grant. This grant is offering up to $25,000 per affordable unit to a maximum of $500,000 per project. This would help offset the costs associated with pre-construction planning, design, and approvals costs for affordable housing in missing middle build forms. The types of costs that would qualify include, but aren't limited to, municipal and agency fees and charges, and consultant service fees, for example, planning, design, legal, property appraisal, environmental, and engineering. Awarded projects must maintain affordable units for a minimum of 25 years from the date of first occupancy, and applicants should provide affordable units to priority groups as identified through the city's housing needs assessment. We'll be launching the CIP program in January. Return to council with a progress report. In closing, developed using an evidence-based approach, this policy integrates input from different experts at the city, lessons from other municipalities, CIP programs, and themes identified through engagement, thus supporting affordable housing and unlocking additional dwelling units by offsetting costs of development charges. The CIP supports and is aligned with the enabling for units and growing together zoning, while addressing the enabling missing middle and affordable housing report, the housing needs assessment, and housing for all. Staff's recommendation has regard for the Planning Act, is consistent with the provincial planning statement, and implements the objectives and policies of the Kitchener official plan and represents good planning. That concludes our presentation. Thank you.
Councillor Schneider.
Thank you, Chair Singh. Thanks for this, another great tool that the City of Kitchener has created. I'm just wondering if you could explain maybe the application process for this, how citizens and developers will apply for this, what the process will be like.
Just keep it on.
Through the chair. So we're currently developing the application process that will be updated on the city's website and will be ready to launch on January 5th. We will start to process applications in mid-January, making sure that applicants meet the criteria that's been identified in the CIP plan, and approved projects will need to sign a legal agreement with the city before funds are distributed.
Yeah, I was reading a story in the Record today about the project that was done on Sterling Avenue, and the group that did it said they absolutely love working with the city. There was no problems. And I just know with the ADU units, that'll be from, residents who may not have any developing experience. So will that be fairly easy step by step for them to apply?
Sorry, go ahead. Keep it on.
Yeah.
Through the chair. So our goal is to make it accessible and easy for applicants to navigate it. We are aware that this may be the first and only time they may have put together an application for a city or development application. So we aim to make it as easy and accessible as possible.
Okay, it's good to hear. Thank you.
Councillor Stretch.
Thank you. I'm just confirming one thing I heard. So applications will open January 5th, and then you'll start reviewing applications mid-January?
That's correct.
Okay, so are you expecting a bunch of applications coming in right away?
Through the chair, we do expect some applications to come in right away. We want to make sure that we give applicants time to submit a fulsome application so they can review our information. We're also planning on having a couple of information sessions so that people can ask questions as well. So we want to give a bit of a cushion there between the time the information is available online before we start reviewing applications, so that we can review a batch together, understanding that we may receive a number of applications together and considering our priorities.
Great, thank you for that clarification. So Ward 10 being in, the MTSA areas, I've had a few residents reach out about their concern for trees in people's backyards, and how some really established old trees might be at risk. Can you speak to anything being done on the planning side to help kind of mitigate some of these concerns or regulate?
So through the chair, you might be aware that there has been quite a bit of work done recently with the city's forestry team and our public tree bylaw.
And so I'd have to get more information for you, but there are certain parameters when a tree is removed for replacement, if it's a city-owned tree in our public right-of-way. But yeah, if there are specific instances that you're aware of or areas of concern, I'm happy to follow up with you after today's meeting and talk about those in greater detail.
Great, thank you.
Okay, seeing no other questions, I have a few of my own. Speaking to the impacts for any trees that may be required to be removed through the budget, was outlined a certain financial commitment. I know the mayor has through the budget outlined a direction to staff, something to come back at a later time. So are we to understand that that's something that will be able to work itself out as a more specific concern about, of course, I'm concerned about loss of trees in general and what the residents may have concern of seeing with their neighborhood, how it changes. But if you look at and fine tune the specifics of affordability and how we enable affordable development and construction, a onerous fee is going to be prohibitive, and that's why we're looking at DC exemptions. So would this report that comes back address this specific, initiative? Go ahead, Rosa.
Yeah, so through the chair, the city does have a policy to waive fees for affordable housing projects, and that is something that staff are actively looking at. Right now, there are certain fees associated with development that are waived or covered by the city for affordable projects. And so we're taking a closer look at all of the fees that comprise the development process and confirming the language in that policy so that we're clear about what's exempt, including things like compensation for large trees.
Yeah, so I would, there's no one else, so just, kind of it's more of a comment related to that. I think I tried doing that to the budget as well. My concern is specific to the Missing Middle Affordable Housing Initiative, where we're discounting DCs, which are upwards to 25,000 or more, but then we're charging for tree removal that may be upwards to 225,000. It's a wash, really. If DCs are prohibitive, well, guess what? Where there was no fee for tree removal, now it exists. That same cost exists, which means the barriers are the same. And so whatever this report comes back is going to have to at least be a lot more forgiving, specific to this program related to those tree removals. Just coming back to a question again, through the last committee meeting, I was quite specific in asking to ensure that this is a broader community initiative, that this will, over time, fullness of time, is going to be anywhere. Any applicant across the city can apply for this. But there's a specific to the 1,500 meters. Can you reference that? What does that mean?
So through the chair again. So through our HALF contract with the federal government, we were partially successful in this application because the federal government is looking for housing goals to be achieved close to existing and planned rapid transit, and achieving missing middle housing. So we have certain targets that are embedded in our agreement with CMHC, and so the CIP criteria does specify that there's a priority will be given to applications that are within 1,500 meters of transit and target the missing middle. So we'll be looking at those applications first, but certainly the CIP is applicable citywide, and applicants across the city can participate.
So what does that mean that they'll be looked at first? Does it mean that the general priority will be them, or would one be picked over the other in the fullness of time? Is anyone generally eligible? It just they may not be the first approval, but over time, if they are a eligible application, they too will be able to do something towards missing middle or affordable housing. Go ahead, Jenny.
To the chair, so we will be mindful of our budget. We have a certain amount of money that we have for the program, so we want to make sure that we hold enough funding that we can meet those targets in terms of the 98 units, the proximity to transit, and obviously affordable. Beyond that, we can still fund projects that are outside of that 1,500 meters of rapid transit. It's just that we want to make sure that we hold enough funding for those that fall within the area. So, for example, if we have a project that comes in January that is outside of the 1,500 meters, we can still start awarding those outside of the 1,500 meters. We just have to be conscious of how many we fund so that we still hold on to enough funding to meet our objectives overall.
Okay. Related to the timing, The deadline's September-ish, right? Say October. Yeah.
Yes. Through the chair, the October 31st is the deadline for getting the 98 units in.
Is that building permit ready?
Building permit issued.
Building permit issue. So they don't have to start construction, but they have to have approval on the building permit.
Correct.
Okay, all right. And is the funding going to be only after the building permit is issued? Related, there are some reliefs related to the projects, especially in the missing metal bore. So, a per unit, is that going to be coinciding along with your application, or it's only once they've been approved for eligibility and they've applied for building permit and the building permit has been issued?
So to the chair, we are setting up the two programs somewhat differently, but they all relate to incentivizing the work before the building permit is issued. So for the ADU grant, that would be issued, that the funding would align with when the development charges are required to be paid. So for example, education development charges are always required to be paid at the time of building permit issuance. So we would pay them through an internal process at the time of building permit issuance, and then the ones that are related to occupancy, we would pay prior to occupancy for the ADU program, and then for the second stream, it would be give out portions of money at certain milestones just to ensure that projects are meeting those milestones. So, for example, application for site plan, application for building permit, building permit issuance. We have certain milestones that we want to see happen and give an allocation of funding as we go through those.
Okay, thank you. Seeing no other questions, so I'll open it for comments. Before we do, I think I am gonna exercise more prudent caution. Although this initiative is citywide, and any applicant or any homeowner can be eligible depending on their criteria for their zoning, because there is a component that specifies specifically for 1500 meters, and then there's going to be some, I think, priority, at least in the initial stage, going to be given to the 1500 meter geographical area. Myself and my family own property within that boundary, so I'm going to recuse myself from that part of the vote, but I'll take the vote as a whole, and then separate vote for the 1500 meter. That's okay. Councillor Stretch.
Yeah. I also own property within that boundaried area, so likely if you're feeling uncomfortable, then I'll follow that lead for extra precaution and also declare a conflict. Then that would vote.
All right, that's. I'll take the vote and then I'll just switch it to Councillor Chapman for that last bit. Yeah. No, Councillor Stretch. Again, I do really strongly think this is an interesting comment, but again, because that priority initially for the 1500 meters, I think it's prudent for us to show that extra caution. Okay, any comments? Seeing none, so I'll take two movers. So it's been moved by myself and seconded by Councillor Chapman for the direction as a whole, except for the 1500 meter as a boundary, which if I can get a move of Councillor Chapman and seconded by Councillor Ioannidis. So I'll take those two votes separately, but I'll come to you, Councillor Chapman, for the second vote. So for the first vote, no, let's take the conflict first. So with the noted conflicts, Councillor Chapman, if you want to bring that forward.
Yes, I move that we vote
on the 1500 meter.
On the 1500 meter
boundary
thing.
I think staff get the gist of what that amendment is, or that separation of that motion. Okay, all right. With that, all those in favor, opposed, and with the noted conflicts, and then the general direction, moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Chapman. All those in favor, opposed, and that carries. Thank you. And that carries with the noted conflicts on the specific item and the general direction as well, with the two other noted conflicts as well. All right. Thank you, everyone. Meeting adjourned.